Once upon a time, Chris called Dan and said, "I'm having an idea." When Dan got over his initial shock and horror, he agreed to hear Chris out. Suddenly, a podcast was born, and somehow I was suckered into recording the intro to give them a little bit of legitimacy. And so, here we are. Welcome to the Dan and Chris Save the World podcast.
The Dan and Chris podcast has been fortified with 6 essential vitamins and minerals. Please use only as directed.
Be careful operating heavy machinery while listening to this podcast. If you are pregnant or may become pregnant, please consult a physician before listening to this podcast.
No animals were harmed in the creation of this podcast. For best results, open your mind and smile while listening. Continued use of this podcast has been known to cause hilarity in certain individuals. Proceed at your own risk.
Then we just start talking and we just see what happens, and because we never know what's going to come out of our mouths,
Well, that's definitely happened in the past, where we've even been surprised ourselves by the things we talk about.
Yeah.
Well, you are recording. Look at that.
Yeah.
You brat.
Yeah, it's me, Brat Carmen, at your service.
You brat.
You farganized hole.
You bastages, I'll make you bite our bells.
Oh, jeez. Yes. We are back.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes.
And whatever else in between.
And all points in between.
Hello, fellow human beings.
There you go. That's the best way to say it.
Yes.
That's the best way.
Because I don't think anybody has said they're not a human being yet.
Well, I've...
okay, maybe that's okay. It's going too far.
There's been a couple people who have said some very interesting things lately, and I'm like, all right. That's good. Right. I'm just going to get here drink now.
We're gonna stick with human beings for now. Earthlings.
Earthlings. I've got my woodchuck cider.
Oh, I don't have anything.
Are you not allowed to drink any at the moment, or
no? I just don't have anything. No, because I'm off of everything right now. So
quick, pause the recording. I'll be right over. Cider delivery.
That'd be great. I'm off of all drugs right now, so I've been off of chemo for a month now, right?
Okay.
Yeah, a month. And I had my CT scan, so I've been scanned. I've been X-rayed.
Okay.
No superpowers yet. I'm waiting for that.
Okay.
I'm very disappointed with all these treatments that I've gotten no superpowers.
Seriously, no lab accidents or anything. It's been like, wait, what the hell?
X-rays. I mean, come on, chemo. They're pumping so much stuff. Something's bound to happen. I'm not climbing the walls. I'm not seeing through things anymore. Anything anymore. Shh! Don't tell anybody. My X-ray vision disappeared. No, but I'm disappointed in that. I haven't gotten any superpowers from this.
I can imagine. See, that would upset me as well. Going through all of that and nothing to speak of afterwards.
It would have made it a little bit more worthwhile, to get cancer and go through all this fun stuff, and then you come out with, and I can, climb walls or something. Would that be kind of cool?
I'm going to be climbing the walls because of isolation.
Well, that's a different story.
Yeah.
So how you doing?
I'm all right. Today was a good day at work, which I have not been able to say in a very long time.
Oh, nice.
But recently, within the past couple of weeks, they've changed up our work areas.
Okay.
And so I lost a section of the zone that I used to have, but I picked up part of another one. But they've done this because they're bringing more inspectors on board. We went from 26 to 28.
Okay.
And so they've kind of shrunk zones in certain areas, stretched them out in others. They've kind of changed things around. They're trying to basically balance the workload across all of the inspectors differently now that we have these 2 new people on board.
So is this a partisan? It's not a gerrymandering or anything like that.
No, this is not a political thing. This is not a political thing. Thank God.
I know.
Here's the thing. Seriously, I would love it if our political districts were written by the woman who handled our zone maps, because she has this analysis that talk about, God bless the number crunchers, because this woman worked for months on this. So, and her name's Pam, and she's no longer with the city. She left the city after this was all done. That was like her last project, was to get this done for the inspectors.
Her big hurrah here.
Exactly. But what an amazing lady to start off with. Just a sweet lady. And her husband has brought their children to FC3.
Oh, nice.
So she knows fully well what we up to.
Extra kudos there. Then
she gets a kick out of that.
Yeah.
But she spent so much time developing this, and so it was all balanced.
Nice.
So there are now 7 inspectors for every quadrant of the city.
Okay.
So for the northwest, northeast, so all 4 quadrants of the city, there's now a supervisor for each quadrant instead of like a supervisor that overflows this group here. And then we had like 3 supervisors at one point. Now we have 4.
Okay.
Okay. But each supervisor has 7 inspectors. Each inspector has a well-balanced caseload, and it cut out I think I went from like 370 cases I was working on to about 280.
Okay.
So it's interesting,
Yeah.
and
you can handle them better. You can focus more and yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I'm so used to working cases, going to inspections, working cases. There are days where my active list for the cases I have to get to that day is like 30 to 40 cases.
Wow.
And I'll get to maybe 15 to 20 of them in any given day because that's the time I have for.
Right.
Now, lately, my caseload has been 13, 14, 15.
Okay.
With 3 or 4 inspections as per usual. But I've been able to cover those inspections. I've had 3 days now lately where by 3:30 in the afternoon, I've run out of things to do.
Wow.
So I'm able to now focus on the proactive projects, and I can start reviewing permits better. So I was sitting at my desk this afternoon going over this total rebuild of this guy's front porch over on one of the streets nearby me. And I'm like looking at all the details, and I had time to be able to look at the details and like, is that code compliant? Wait, no, I didn't like. And I'd call people on the permit counter. Hey, I'm finally getting a chance to review this thing. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Oh yeah, we thought that was okay. And I'm like, all right, well, if you signed off on it, then shit.
Yeah, really. But you have a manageable workload now.
Exactly. To be able to do that and to be able to step back and take a breath and go, okay, I have time to focus now. This is really kind of neat.
Yes.
So we'll see if that sticks. We'll see if that sticks up, because here's the other shoe that drops is there are. I was just told this during a meeting this morning. 1,637 certificate of occupancy cases that are now finally getting processed from when City Hall shut down last year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So there might be a big influx coming.
Yes, I think they did that. They finally put this into motion so that we would not be completely tsunamied with paperwork. So they're going to start releasing that in the next couple of weeks. So I'm expecting that 280 cases to probably jump to maybe back to the 380 I'm used to for a little while. But the thing about certificate of occupancy cases, if there aren't like dramatic show-stopping things going on with a house, and really 10% chance that there is, so 90% chance I'm going to be able to get it out of the way in a month. Okay. So, these are not long-standing situations.
Right.
It's go through the house, find the things that need to be fine-tuned. Half of my zone is still within the high-risk area, so I'd have to do lead dust wipes at the end of it, make sure there's no lead hazards. The other half is all, the demographic numbers say that there's not an issue here, so we won't do testing there. Okay, cool. Yeah. Done in a month, off and running. So it's going to be interesting, though. I'll tell you that for damn sure.
Yeah. So versus my work, I'm just swamped all the time. I don't think I've had really a break in years, because there's just so much going on all the time, and there's always stuff that has to be done now, and because we have to deal with government mandates and things like that, and
fun.
because we're done payroll, so tax laws change all the time. That every state does everything differently, and so we have to deal with all that, and we're dealing with this California has a mandate now. We have to adjust for that. And it's like, it's always an adventure. So, yeah, I'm never bored. Sometimes I wish I was, because I would like to be able to get ahead and catch up. And, and there's some stuff I want to do. I wanted to do some more training and stuff. I need some more certifications. And I just there's not enough hours in the day. And it's just,
Yeah, that's tough. And I mean, now this is not a common thing. This is like the first time in 12 years that I felt like, wow, I'm almost on top of everything.
Right.
But
at least you have this brief period. Hopefully it's not too brief, but at least you have this period right now. So enjoy it while you can.
Exactly. Brace myself and get ready for what's next.
Yes.
So,
have you watched the Olympics at all?
I have not.
No.
Which is astounding for me, because I remember growing up as a kid, the Olympics were my favorite thing on the planet. Yeah. Watching the Winter Olympics was preferable to watching the Summer Olympics, but I would still watch the Summer Games as well. And for me, the Olympics started losing its luster when ABC lost the coverage. When NBC took over, I did not like the way they did it. I did not like the way they did the delays. the way they process things, the way they would split things up and schedule stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I also felt like I was losing touch with the athletes and the personal stories, which even as an adolescent and a young teenager, I thought that was the best part, getting to know these people.
Yeah.
So I could really feel like rooting for them was more than just, oh, they're wearing the American flag, so I got to root for them.
Right, because they each have to get to the Olympics, they've had to go through a lot of stuff.
Mary Lou Retton, the Olympic gymnast,
yep.
when she was huge in the 80s, she was everybody's best friend. We knew everything about this girl. We knew where she'd gone to school. We knew how long she'd been in gymnastics. We knew what her family was like. We saw what she liked, what she didn't like. They'd catch her out a night on the town with her friends. So when this girl hit the freaking floor, everybody in America knew who she was.
Right.
And so that was kind of neat. And while they still do some personal interest stories, it really feels like it's TikTok version thereof. Like it's a cut piece. It's like it's processed. It's not personal. There's no touch there. It's just churn it through and go. But I also go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I said they have a lot of. There's so many different aspects of it now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can see like on the main, like if you tune into like the NBC, the main one, you're seeing some of the main sports and everything. But if you go online and you tune into some of the other stuff, you see, I don't know. Yeah, I still have it on a lot right now.
Yeah. I mean, I watch some of the highlight reels in the morning, but I really haven't had the time to just kind of sit down and go, I'm going to sit down and watch this. I might do that tonight. I don't know. See what kind of coverage is available.
The timing is weird because I think tonight you get live stuff that's Wednesday morning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the half a world away thing.
Right. And it's kind of weird. Yeah. Some of it's recorded, some of it's live. Like, especially get later in the night.
Yeah.
You're getting some live stuff from Wednesday. So we're getting, we're going into the future. Ooh.
To this day, I still think my favorite games were the Sarajevo games because I think that's really when I spent the most time really learning and paying attention and understanding it. It was the Sarajevo Winter Games. And so I watched a lot of figure skating and suddenly became an expert on figure skating commentary, even though me on skates would be highly dangerous.
Oh, geez. I wouldn't even try it. Yeah.
But I also learned a lot, about the bobsled and of course hockey and, just watching a lot of that stuff that happened. I, to this day, still maintain that as far as the Winter Olympics are concerned, ice dancing is not a sport. That should be get rid of ice dancing because that's ridiculous.
There's a few things, I don't get the synchronized diving.
Yeah.
Because I watched that a little bit the other day and I don't really, I don't know. It's just like, okay, you guys can time yourselves well together, but I don't know. There's some ones and they got, the skateboarding this year and.
That's kind of neat to see that. It helps draw the younger crowd in.
It's interesting.
And something to look forward to.
I like seeing the variety of stuff. I saw like the end of the triathlon where the woman from Bermuda, is it Bermuda? I think won it, and she was unexpectedly, and she was just so. It was just I love seeing. The joy on some of these faces, and like there's the one guy who finished. I don't know. He was just. I forget which one, but they're so far ahead. They almost slow down to walk across the finish line because it's like, oh my, oh my gosh, and it's those individual sports are almost more. I mean, it's definitely more personal for the people versus like all the teams. But I mean, it's all just amazing. I mean, these people are these accomplished. I don't know, but. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, I watched it. I have it on most of the time now.
Okay.
Just cause just to tune into whatever's there and just to see you get to sample different sports that you don't normally do. Watching rugby the other day and whatever else is on. And
I really enjoy rugby. I never thought I was ever going to say that, but I remember it was not too long ago, but it had to be like 4 or 5 years ago. Erica and I wound up, we were channel surfing and we ended up watching a rugby world championship with the New Zealand All Blacks versus their rival from Canberra, Australia or something. I can't remember exactly where they were from. And we got into it and the commentators were amazing because it was almost like they anticipated that new people were watching the sport for the first time because they were very careful they didn't inundate you with education to not bore the veteran, viewers, but they were able to say little things, make little comments. And of course the New Zealand All Blacks, these guys, they're amazing. amazing athletes, but they also do the haka and everything beforehand, and they get into the whole chant and everything. Oh, and it's just so wild to watch them in action, and it was just so much fun to watch. So I don't go out of my way to find rugby, but if I see it on, I will stop and watch because it does entertain me to this day. And it's just so interesting to see the athleticism of these guys. They really kill each other, and they're not wearing pads like football players. Right. They're just going after each other, and and they get right up. They bounce right back up. There's no whining or bitching or pissing or moaning. They just get right back to it. It's like, wow, this is impressive to watch. But where was I going with that? I was going somewhere with that. I don't remember anymore.
I don't know.
Moving on.
Moving right along.
Yes. Are you watching it in the background? I see you keep turning over yourself and then looking.
It might be on TV, yeah.
Might be on TV at the moment.
Well, it's getting into the prime time. The prime time starts at 8, the prime time coverage.
Oh, I see.
But, I'm not engrossed in it, but I just like to see what's happening and try to keep what's going on. And last I saw, I think we were up in the medal count. Let me see, what are we doing here?
Which is tradition these days.
Well, we were close. I mean, Japan, for a while, Japan had more gold than us. So the medal. So right now, this is right now Tuesday night, July 27th. So
July 27th.
Yeah, Japan has 10 golds. We have 9 golds.
Okay.
But overall medals, we have 25. So we're leading with overall counts, but Japan is leading with the number of golds.
Can I tell you what I'm most excited for? The story that has got me the most happy about this particular games?
Okay.
The Philippines' first gold medal, that young woman in the weightlifting competition.
Okay.
Oh my God. The Philippines, I think the Philippines only won like 3 or 4 medals beforehand, and they were like silvers and bronzes in various competitions. This was the first gold medal in Philippine Olympic history. And this girl went to town. I watched the entire sequence of her lift, and she just left. The cliche, leaving it all on the table.
Yeah.
She threw it in there. You could just see the determination in her face. You could actually, like, if it were a video game, you would see like break effect over her head pop up. Like she was going for it. Like there was no turning back. This was not going to fail. She was bound and determined, and she dug in, and when she lifted it up and cleared it, and her arms are up in the air, and she dropped the weights and just broke down because she knew she had done it, and it was just so pure. That's what I love about these things, is the purity of the moment.
Well, that's like when I saying the women's triathlon, the woman from Bermuda. I think Bermuda's the smallest country that's won a gold right now.
Nice.
But it was just the joy, unexpected. She wasn't a favorite or anything like that, but she, and just like you said, the joy and everything, just the accomplishment these people have done in front of the world. In front of the world stage. The biggest stage. It's
great stuff.
Yeah.
And me, I'm up to 15 minutes on the rowing machine before I have to stop.
Yay.
I had stopped rowing for a while because it was time. I just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
But I started jumping on it again recently.
Yeah.
And I've worked my way quickly up from 8 minutes was my maximum to 15. And I'm hoping by the convention I'll be up to 20 to 30.
But that 15 minutes or whatever, it's a small part of your day, and it makes a big difference. So.
Yep. God, I got scrawny ass arms. Look at that. I always have.
I don't have any upper body. It's all.
You're a leg man.
I'm a leg. Yeah.
That's what she said.
Oh gosh.
I know. Seriously.
Yeah. So that's what I've been spending some time on. At least it's on in the background, and the kids will sometimes sit and watch it with me. So at least trying to get them a little bit of stuff there. So
well, that's good.
Yeah, some experience at see what's going on in the world in different sports, and we're watching a little ping pong the other day, and because Zach likes to play ping pong, and we're watching the Olympic players. Like, wow.
Yeah, it's like that scene in Forrest Gump where it's just like bam, 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 bam. Like, oh my word.
Yeah. Them playing ping pong is a little different than us playing ping pong. Yeah.
Let's all get drunk and play ping pong. Yay!
Oh gosh, The Simpsons.
So, wow.
Yeah.
What else you got going on?
Let's see. Well, I told you that September 9th is when my next surgery is.
Are you going to be in the hospital for like another week?
He said probably a few days, said 2 or 3 days probably.
Okay.
So he said the surgery itself is only an hour or two versus the 4 or 5 hours the last one.
Uh-huh.
So it's a much smaller surgery than the last one. It's still
Okay.
but so basically he's cutting open my around where my stoma is. That's what it's called, the stoma, where my intestines popping out of my stomach there. Cut that out, put it back together and stick it in my stomach, and I'm gonna have a little hole there because he said they don't fill in the hole. That's a basic, because if they tried that before and it gets infected and stuff like that, so they basically leave it not all the way open but partly open so it can then eventually heal and hopefully close up mostly.
I don't know if Neosporin can fix that.
No, and so I have to keep that packed, wrapped and stuff, or packed, whatever. And but I think a lot of the hospital stays making sure that I can poo. It's all about the poo.
It's all about the poo.
Make sure I get that crap out of me, in the right way and everything. So,
have they been coaching you as to what to expect, what you're going to have to do, how to train yourself?
He gave me some stuff. I mean, everybody's different. I mean,
right.
I mean, mine is on more of the fringe of it because they had to cut out so much. My they cut out pretty much the rectum, the whole rectum there, and that's where the poo is stored.
Right.
So that's your little container there. So my bag I have sitting outside, that was basically the bag inside that kept it all. So when that would get full, then you get your pressure to push it out. So now it could be, he said, expect accidents, which is always good to know when you're, our age, and it might have to, revert to childhood kind of thing. But he said, especially at night, when your body's relaxed, there's a higher chance of that.
Now, is that something you can train yourself out of, or just something that's going to be the case?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's. He said expect up to probably 6 months to kind of get used to your body type of thing, what your body's how it's gonna react and how it's going to, and maybe of different foods, But he said, he's seen, people have had, they might have to be in the bathroom for an hour and then they don't have to go for 2 days, kind of thing, because it depends on what it is. But right now I take Imodium every day, which thickens up your stool basically, and I might have to stay with that to keep it, or to eat more stuff that thickens up stuff so it doesn't flow out type of, it's a whole bunch of stuff, so he said,
it's shitty conversation.
It's just down in the shitter. It's just all crap,
No, and I think I asked half-heartedly, almost joking, early on in the conversation. That's great. Thank you. You got I saw that. As soon as you picked it up and I saw it come into frame, I'm like, he's going to squeeze that. Yeah, that's great. Now, I know I asked you this kind of half-heartedly, lightheartedly. Has anybody said to you that there are organizations, labs that are working on fucking bionic rectum or some sort of prosthetic, some sort of artificial piece? I mean, we have artificial hearts, artificial, so they're even working on like an artificial pancreas of all things.
Artificial rectum.
Like an actual, is this in development that could be possibly used to give you a more normal lifestyle down the road?
I don't think so. I mean, I just did a search for a rectum and it talks about the sphincter.
Mm-hmm.
So the sphincter was the part, the sphincter is what actually holds everything in.
Yeah, that's the doorway.
Yeah, so he was worried about that where it was. There's a patent. Let me see, an illustrated artificial rectum. Let me see. Boy, the stuff you could find here.
There is a conversation that we're having at the moment that's making me a little uncomfortable. I won't lie. No,
an implantable device for selectively controlling defecation has an outer body defining on one end and flange that is surgically attachable to the patient's anus and or tissue adjacent to the anus. Connector. Wow. Let me see. This was a patent that was filed in 2003. Anticipated expiration of 2023. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. I'm guessing it didn't happen, but so the concern first of all was that it was too close to the sphincter because you couldn't tell until it was in there, and that also that because of how much he had to take out, that there wouldn't be enough left to be able to attach. So we got past those areas where there's enough, basically, cut out the chunk of your colon and pull the rest of it in and attach it to you. So you said the sphincter muscles look good. So they're functioning. That problem is, I have some control down there, basically, kind of thing. So that was the biggest question there, because if it was any closer, then I might not have been able to reattach at all, which means I would have been stuck with the bag for the rest of my life, which isn't. It's, I mean, a lot of people do it, and it's in that case they would have. I think they would have done this they would have done it not at the bottom of my small intestine, but the bottom of the large intestine. So the bottom of the large intestine be more like just your normal, your normal consistency poo. So, once a day or whatever, or, whatever your normal amount is, versus what I have now, which is, 4 to 5 times a day I have to empty it. So it's, if it was a permanent thing, I'd assume it would be more at the, at the end of the bottom of the large intestine. So, but yeah. So anyways, this is kind of crappy. This conversation stinks, Chris.
I'm telling you. How are you feeling though right now? How are you feeling?
Feeling okay. I had my CT scan on. I said I had CT scan on Monday. I won't know the results of that for a couple of days probably. I go to my oncologist, my medical oncologist, on Friday just for a checkup. I just got some blood work done for that, so they can make sure that things are recovering. It looks like some of my blood numbers are still a little low, which is why I can tell that because of my energy levels when I'm running. But so I've gotten to judge, I can tell where things are just by my running. It's better, after a month off no chemo, it's better, but I know it's not where I was before. But overall, I feel okay. I just can't wait to get rid of this bag that's tied to my stomach.
I can imagine.
It's not.
Actually, no. Let me take that back. I can't imagine. I
can show you. You want to see it? You have to.
That's quite all right.
It's just the bag. It's just the bag. I mean, the bag looks like. So I'm not sure the one I'm wearing, but the bag just looks like this. So it's just this bag, and
I see it. Okay.
Has this connector there, and there's another part of it that sticks to my stomach. So there's the whatever the whole thing, they call it an appliance, whatever they call it, appliance. But they got the bag and they got all
these names.
I know, but so I stick the one part to my stomach, and this goes over it, and it's attached to it. And then this has a little opening at the bottom, and you empty it out and stuff like that. And it's and it's not too much problem. You just have to make sure that you put it on right. Make sure that you clean it when you change it. Make sure that it looks healthy. No, it doesn't. It looks healthy and everything. Make sure there's no weird things going on with it. Make sure that you can't. You have to have it tight around it because your poo is kind of not toxic, but it'll harm your skin. It'll give you rashes and stuff because of the So it's just got to make sure this stuff is there, and it's just kind of a. It's I can poo standing up, if I have to.
Well, I tell you, now that's the win right there, my friend.
I spend a lot less time in the bathroom because it comes out all day long, and then I just empty it when it's full. It's been. But it also makes noise sometimes, which is interesting. Sometimes it gas comes out of your body. It doesn't come out your butt, but normally does. It comes out my stomach there. So anyways, let's change subjects.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is very fascinating for everybody.
Shall we do a jarring change of course and say, have you seen Black Widow yet?
I have not seen Black Widow yet.
Tiny and I got to see it when it first came out, the day it came out, and I got to tell you, it was definitely worth it.
I've heard that good things about it, and I thought about if I can't make it to the theater, at least running it at home, whatever. But yeah, I definitely want to see it. It's just I have not been able to see it yet.
It was a fun movie, and introducing Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, the adopted little sister. Is inspired. She was fantastic. She carried a lot of the movie, and she was definitely not your usual sidekick kind of a character. She was just as potent of a warrior to begin with.
Okay.
But her sense of humor and her upfront, nature about everything. She's very straightforward about everything. But Florence brought this tenor to the character, and I'm telling you, the whole theater fell in love with her almost immediately.
Okay.
Upon her arrival on screen. I mean, it's just the little one-liners and the comments and the observations. She was a really interesting character, and I have a strong feeling she's going to be a healthy part of the MCU for a little while to come yet.
Okay.
You're going to see a lot of that girl, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Awesome. There's so much going on with Marvel and everything, with all the different shows, and they're talking about there's this future of movies with our society, because they said, I guess it was a big drop for the second week for that movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still such a different environment than, we're not back to pre-pandemic times.
No, and I don't think we will be for a long time to come, to be honest.
Now with this whole Delta stuff going on.
Oh, this Delta variant is making me a little nervous, I got to tell you.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I guess the CDC has already said there's going to be masking protocols already back in place, even if you're vaccinated.
They're starting to. I don't know if they've officially recommended them, but they're at least talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Just because a bunch of morons just can't go with it, they can't freaking join in and just help.
I don't understand. I don't understand a lot of things.
One idiot made it a political situation. Instead of addressing it as a health crisis, he turned it into a political situation, and because of that is where we are right now.
I don't understand the mindset of these followers.
Yep.
The people who are just blindly following and not using logic and using knowledge. I don't understand that. And I guess I'm too practical to understand it, maybe.
Yeah, that's unfortunately, you and I are not equipped to actually be able to understand it.
I can't imagine being that blind to everything to just accept it and say this is right. This is the right thing to do. I don't know, but I couldn't. But we got lots of people that are proof that's happening. So
yep.
And some of them are elected politicians, so
it's just horrible. But have you seen? It's interesting lately how in the past week now Fox News, after 18 months of bashing and bashing and bashing, have suddenly they're pivoting, and now they're all about convincing people to get the vaccine and to be a part of things.
I know some of them are, not all of them are, right? I mean, the opinion,
the majority,
the Peter opinion guys are not, are they?
Yeah. Yeah, you've got a couple of guys that are still the entrenched idiot, but a lot of them are, Fox News, I'm starting to see it, where they're putting out press releases and whatnot saying, hey, we're really into the vaccine idea. We've always supported vaccine. No, you haven't. Shut up.
Which is also weird because Trump got the vaccine.
Yes, he did, after getting sick.
Yeah, and I just don't get it. I don't understand. And the whole, I don't want, they don't tell me to control my body, but you're telling women to, you're going to control their bodies by, abortion and stuff.
Oh, that's not even,
it's just, okay. We got to, not go political here.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is we already spent a half an hour. We already spent a half an hour on your ass.
I know. Talk about other asses. We got to talk about something else.
Yeah, I know. We danced across Black Widow for a little bit. How about them Legos? Let's play with
Legos.
Legos.
I want to get the space shuttle set.
Oh, I do too. Oh my God.
I was so tempted. Then they had to put money away from my to put the cat down. But
yeah, I feel bad about that. I'm sorry about how old was Socks?
She was about 19.
Oof, that's a good run for a kitten. Oh, and there she is.
Yeah, in a box. Well, I mean, she's
living in a box.
Yeah, I mean, they put it in a nice wooden box.
Oh, see, that's nice. That's a really well carved little.
Yeah, it's a nice little box, and I
remember Socks fondly. She was a sweetheart.
She was a low maintenance cat. She was not. She was there. She always loved to be pet. She would always purr, and she was always. When I first got her, she was a skittish little thing, and she would always hide because she was a feral cat when I got her.
Okay. And
she had just had kittens, and Diana had acquired her and another cat, and so she got them fixed. And then Socks, or the other cats didn't get along with Socks for some reason, which I don't understand because Socks is just. But so she handed Socks off to me back in 2004, and Socks was probably a couple years old about that time. We're not sure about her exact age, but she's probably about a couple years old at that time. So 2004. So I had her for about 17 years, and then you figured another year or two on top of that. So 18 or 19 years old. So she was, she had a good long life, and towards the end, I said she weighed just barely over 4 pounds when I at the last visit there. And she was usually around 10 or 12 pounds. So,
poor thing.
But, I was there with her at the end, and she was purring, and, but yeah, she was overall a good cat. She wasn't a big player or anything like that, but she would, if you sat down next to her, she'd cuddle up next to you and she'd purr away, and she'd just sit there for hours and let you pet her and everything. Versus cats I got now, they're not too into that. Rocka doesn't let me touch him much. And Zoe I can pet her for a few minutes and then she's out of here. She's got too much going on, but so that was the expense I would have spent on Legos I spent on putting Socks down and taking care of Socks there. So
how much is that space shuttle set?
It's $200.
Oh, that's not too bad for one of those big collector
sets. It's a big set. I mean, I saw the size, but okay, it's bigger than I thought it was. I'm like, okay. But I'm also, they talked about potentially a bigger DeLorean coming out, which I want that if they do that. Boy. It's like, I think that'd be $150 set or something like that. So, but because I got the little one,
remember when you got the little one?
I get the little one here.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. It does other stuff, but I saw this thing for the bigger one. It's like, it looks really cool. So if they come out with that, I have to get that.
I finally built that space buggy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, where is that? What did they call it? That one came out nice. That's a good sized one.
Oh, cool.
And it's got the. It's got the little hook where it has the little probe that hangs out with it.
Oh, nice.
And then it's got the side entry door.
Oh, wow.
And it's got a whole cabin in there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat. And the wheels do the pivot thing for some sort of suspension, the rudimentary suspension. And it rolls nice, too.
To go over the different stuff, yeah. I have a Rover, one of the Rovers.
Okay.
Somewhere in one of my boxes packed away somewhere because I have too much stuff. But yeah, one of the Rovers was designed by one of the people who built the actual Rover.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So I love the sets like that, some of these idea sets and everything. So yeah, the space shuttle. I want the big Ghostbusters car too. That's the
Ecto. Oh, did you see the trailer today?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
For Afterlife?
Yes.
Oh, I cannot wait to see that movie. It looks like it's going to be a barn burner.
Yeah, I mean, it just they get better and better each time they show one. And what was the last line? I forgot the last line was it in now. It was.
It sounded like it was Dan Aykroyd.
Yes. Oh, I said we're closed.
Sir, we're closed. It didn't even look like it was like an office. It looked like a shop.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, I think it was Dan Aykroyd. But yeah. But when he said that, it's like the voice, like, oh, I'm dying to see how this film works out. I hope it's good. I really do, because I mean they're kicking butt with these trailers as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's exciting. But I want the ecto set they have my boss at work has it. He said it was really cool. They did a really excellent job with it.
Mm-hmm.
I almost bought it over Christmas, but then they sold out. And so I have the little one. I have the little one. Again, I have the little one. And I want the bigger one. Size matters, Chris.
Well, that's sometimes I'm told that.
Especially with Legos, the bigger sets are cooler.
There you go.
That's all I'm talking about, really.
That's all it. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. I'm with you.
All right, I forwarded you a TikTok of this guy. He's really tall. I don't know how tall he is, but he's all stuff about his height, and he's funny. It's just his presenting of it, because people always ask him, stand in front of this, or his last one I just said, go to a Mini Cooper store and shop for a Mini Cooper, and just see him stand next to this car. The car looks like a toy car next to him.
Yes.
And you see him trying to get into the car. Oh my gosh. There are some clever people on TikTok, I swear. Oh my gosh. There is a very interesting world out there, everybody.
Yeah.
And
TikTok has definitely been an interesting glimpse into the world, as it were.
there's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of stuff that isn't. There's a big variety of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's some good, some bad, and just yeah, whatever you're interested in, there's something out there. I got, there's a bunch of them that come up with the model trains, and a lot of Lego guys I follow to see what they do, which is amazing. Follow some master builders. It's just crazy what they come up with. But yeah, it's an amazing world. Legos will save the world, I think.
Legos, you're maybe not wrong. That's the thing.
Legos help spark the imagination.
When the world starts opening up, I really hope that people start going out and exploring it. Mm-hmm. Because I don't remember. I think it was a Mark Twain quote that travel is the enemy of ignorance, or something along those lines. Where it's more than just. There's so much out there to see, and if you open your mind to it, travel can change how you look at the world. And I would wish that upon my fellow Americans, that they actually go out and explore the world around them and really see their part to play in it.
Okay, here's the Mark Twain quote. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime. Wow. Okay, I don't think I've ever heard that before, but
I have not. It's been a long time since I've heard the full quote, and I know I've heard some paraphrased versions of it over the years. But it's
it makes perfect sense. I mean, it
really does.
I mean, I feel like I've traveled through books a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
valid.
I think in my, I haven't done a lot of extensive traveling, but I feel like all my reading has helped to open my mind. Because I read about different worlds or different whatever, and just reading in general. I do a lot of fantasy, a lot of science fiction. I do a lot of like John Grisham and Clive Cussler and Stephen King, and just a big variety of stuff. So I'm opening my mind in lots of different ways. But I like that Mark Twain quote.
Isn't that something?
Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely based on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime. Which is why we're the Church of the Wandering Dude, right?
Bingo! There it is.
There's our connection.
There it is.
The Church of the Wandering Dude, because we move around and we like this. We don't want to keep narrow-mindedness and everything.
No, that's it. Travel broadens the mind.
So there we go, Mark. This could be one of our quotes for our church here.
There you go.
One of our, not a commandment, but more of
one of our lessons.
Lessons, yes.
Yes.
This is why we're why the Church of the Wandering Dude. See, good call there, Chris. I thank you for bringing this quote to my attention.
I am glad I did.
You've expanded my horizon. I am
happy to share with you, my brother. I really am.
Yes, but
I haven't seen that smile in ages, man. I'm happy to see it. That.
But yeah, it's true. I mean, look at the areas which are more closed-minded. These people don't go out much, I don't think.
No, God, no.
You get
most of the most closed-minded parts of the country, I guarantee those people didn't even know. I don't know the world outside their own towns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the stark level of stupidity out there. Ignorance. Willful ignorance. People who are ignorant to what is going on around them, and they like it that way.
Right.
How do you exist?
How can you be happy with that?
I don't know.
It's like, how does that make you happy to be closed-minded and not appreciate the world around you and all of its craziness, all of its good and bad. Just the world is just there's such an amazing amazing stuff going on our planet here.
Mm-hmm.
And how can you just live in your own little bubble and keep closed-minded? And I don't understand that. And maybe that's because because I have always tried to keep an open mind about everything. I've always the reading and everything. I just my first book was Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nymph.
Oh, there you go.
That's one of
I know that one.
My mom would say that's one of the reasons why how I kind of taught myself to read, or I got more interested in reading, because she would read it to me and I got impatient waiting for her to to get to it. So I started reading it on my own, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the C.S. Lewis, The Chronicles of Narnia, was one of my favorite series for the longest times, and I still enjoy it because it brings you to another world.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of religious overtones with the Chronicles of Narnia, but the story was just it's a fantasy world, magic and animals talk and whatever, but yeah, just your mind is open to these things.
Yep.
The Lord of the Rings. I mean, come on, fantasy. It's just, I can't imagine if I didn't bring that into my life, what would I have done?
Mm-hmm.
What would I have? I mean, I spent so much of my life reading. I mean,
I got to get back into it. I have a stack of books that I would love to be. I keep saying it. You know what? After the convention's done, and that is off our shoulders, then I'm gonna pick a book and I'm gonna read it. Probably this one. This one that I just arrived yesterday. The Ballerina's Guide to Boxing by Abby Rosmarin. I met Abby through TikTok.
Okay.
I started following her on TikTok, and then I found her Instagram, and the two of us would chat from time to time. And she is an amazing human being. She's gone through a lot, but she's an amazing human being, and I've grown to respect her because she's helped me deal with, in her own way, has helped me deal with a lot of the nuances in the back of my, the clutter in the back of my brain, the cobwebs and the bad things and the things that have kind of lingered.
Okay.
And so she self-published that book that I just showed you, wrote it, self-published it, and did everything. And so I sent some money. I paid for an autographed copy of it.
There you go.
Just to help support my friend, basically, is how I was looking at it. But I'm looking forward to reading this book.
Yeah.
And so this will be the first one that
Okay.
Here, let me read the, after losing both her neighbor to suicide and her friend to a drunk driving accident, Lily, a talented ballerina on the verge of going pro, stuns everyone and quits ballet. Ostracized from her family and grappling with emotions that she can barely understand, Lily starts wandering her city and stumbles upon a boxing gym inside a repurposed fire station. Under the guise of working at a local coffee shop, Lily secretly begins training. What happens next is a summer of discovery, of adventure, and of learning what it means to be strong, to stand up for yourself, and to be part of a family. Does that not sound cool? That sounds interesting. Yeah. And so I respect Abby as a writer. I think she's an amazing human being. She's gorgeous. And so I'm looking forward to reading her book, and that will be the first one I tackle after the show's over. And then this entire row that I'm pointing at that you can see but nobody else can at the moment, those are all books I've never read.
Wow. So
I'm just going to kill them off. I'm going to go from left to right and just take them all out.
I can't imagine having books that I've never read.
It's amazing, but my daughter and I suffer from the fact that we want to be good readers, and we have these opportunities to pick up these great books, and we pick them up, and then we never get around to reading them. She has stacks. She has bookshelves of books that she has not read yet.
Wow.
Which is driving her boyfriend bonkers, but it's hilarious to watch the interaction. But yeah, I've got even more books to the other side over here. I've got the 3 Isaac Asimov books that I've never read. I know. And they're all Foundation books. I'm going to get into the Foundation in 2022.
Oh my God, I love the Foundation. I want to read it again.
I know that's your favorite series.
All the robot. You got the robot books, the Foundation books. Yeah, those are one of my next ones.
And they're coming out in a TV series soon, aren't they? Isn't it like Amazon or something? It's coming out with Foundation.
I'm excited and scared at the same time because I hope they do it right, because that is such an iconic series, but I'm nervous because I mean, I'm hoping they do it right, because they came out with a Shannara, the Shannara series for Terry Brooks was another one of my favorite series, and they came out with a series for that, and they didn't quite.
It was an MTV throwaway series. Everybody was pretty.
It wasn't.
I didn't like. I liked it, but didn't like it. It was entertaining, but
it didn't go well with the books. They took some of the concepts, but it didn't stick with the books enough. And they did it again with another author, Kerry Goodkind. They did he did the Seeker books, which I love the books. That they're very clever. And they did a series on it, and it wasn't. Again, it was if you've never read the books, it probably wasn't that bad. But if you read the books and you're trying to compare it to the books, it wasn't close enough to warrant it, kind of thing.
Got it.
So it was another kind of. So I'm hoping they do it well, but I'm worried that how they'll do it, because it's hard based on books. Amazon's doing got the prequel to the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
coming out, and
I'm hearing mixed things about that, but I'm
because it's not going to be based on the book, because there's no books that are based on it.
Yeah.
So it's
there's material out there. It's more like appendixes and stuff.
Yeah, there's material, but it's not the book, not the full story. So it's going to be interesting what they do with that. And I love that world, so I'm curious, and I hope they're spending a fortune on it, which I think is probably too much, but.
It's a sign that they at least want to take it seriously, so I suppose that's something.
Yeah, but I just hope they haven't spent too much on the rights for it to be able to pay for a good show. Yeah, so I love. I mean, I do listen to a lot of books.
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to a series by Piers Anthony again that I haven't done in a while. The Adept series, it's called. Piers Anthony was another one of my favorite authors back again, fantasy. It opens imagination, and I love the fantasies that kind of cross over to our world. A lot of Piers Anthony's books did, like the Xanth books. I don't know how many he wrote at this point, like 30 or 40 of those or something. But it's like a mirror that it crosses over to our world and stuff. So it brings you that connection, but it keeps you in the fantasy realm too. But again, it opens your imagination.
That's it. It helps.
It helps your mind helps your mind wander, even if you can't wander. So you could be a wandering dude by just reading.
Yeah.
Keep your open mind.
I get so trapped in everything. But that's also why I'm an avid gamer too, because
but the gaming does that too, though. I mean, that's another way to open your mind. I mean, you bring yourself to different worlds. I mean, you're living kind of more living the worlds versus.
I'm creating the story rather than reading the story in this case.
Yes. And it's an interactive story, and you don't know what's going to happen next because it's not just you. You're in a campaign.
So I did a thing. I'm in several campaigns at the moment. Mm-hmm. I'm feeding my addiction as a gamer. Mm-hmm. And so in the every other Sunday group, when we're at Tanya and Randy's house, we're playing a game with Evan as the DM, and it's in 3.5 edition of D&D. Mm-hmm. And I've done everything in that edition of D&D at this point. So I was looking for something different to play. So for the past year and a half, I've been playing a psionic character, a telepath, mental power kind of character. And this guy's been on a friggin' journey. I've been so up in the air with this. I'm like, oh my God, I was starting to not have fun with it, because every time I would try to tailor myself into a particular role, something else would happen and then just throw it all off, and it never quite fit. And then a series of magic items came my way. A series of things came my way. I found some different powers to kind of weed in and change some things up. He's really becoming pretty much a psionic paladin. He's almost like a Jedi.
Okay.
Right? I can protect myself with my powers. I improve my attack with my powers. I found myself a holy, two-handed sword that is Vorpal, so it cuts heads off on natural 20s, and it's so he's starting to come into his own finally. And I had a very fun day playing with him the last time out, about a week or two ago. And he is a chaotic character. All right, so he's a good guy. He wants to do the right thing. He wants to help people. He wants to protect. He wants to beat the bad guys. But I always pattern him a little bit after like River Tam and Robin Williams had a kid.
Oh, jeez.
Right? River Tam, the character from Firefly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Robin Williams had a kid. So he's always, I don't know what I'm going to do with him until suddenly things are happening, and this will be fun. And so we're gonna wrap up with this particular anecdote, because this was just, I got a biggest kick out of this. We were in the Underdark, so we're fighting drow elves, the evil elves. Ooh. And Scott, our buddy, is playing a Minotaur Barbarian.
Okay.
Okay.
Barbarian. Okay.
8 feet tall, 500 pound, with horns and a big, huge hammer. I mean, this thing is he's a monster, and he's on our side, which is amazing.
That's good. Yeah.
All right. And here I am at about 6'1", 180 pounds. I don't wear armor because I don't need to.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just running around the battlefield like a moron, just beating on whatever gets in the way. So there was this caster, and she was just beating on us. I mean, seriously, it was a drow elven cleric, and she was just eating away at the side. We were beating down the mooks, right? The mobs and whatnot, but she was really giving us a hard time. I managed to break out, and I came running up behind her, and Evan's like, okay, attack her. And I'm like, all right. I'm draping my arm around her shoulders, and I want to leap into her arms saying, catch me, daddy. And sure enough, it all comes to play out, right? So bam, here I am being cradled by this priestess. She's like, what the hell is going on here? And they're all looking like, where's the other shoe going to drop? What's the other shoe? Where is this going to go? Because I've been killing guys left and right with this greatsword that I've been swinging. Why suddenly am I doing this? Well, one of the powers that I have is called Dimension Swap, which is a psionic version of a spell called Benign Transposition, where you and an ally switch places. What other character did I just tell you about? The 8 foot tall, 500 pound Minotaur Barbarian. So I dimension swap with Scott.
Oh my God.
He goes, okay, you're on the other side of the battlefield again now, and all of a sudden you hear, crunch.
Oh my God.
That's the shit that I can do in these games. This is why I love Dungeons and Dragons so much. When you can set up moments like this, teamwork moments like this, just sheer chaos. This is why I love this game so much.
What did you think about that?
What's that?
What the heck made you think about doing that?
Well, I had taken Dimension Swap, but I hadn't had a chance to really use it yet for tactical purposes.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to have it in the inventory so that I could switch. So because I knew I was faster and more mobile than Scott's Minotaur.
Mm-hmm.
And, and other people are just as deadly, but if you have to get them up close, like
right.
Our buddy Sean plays a Moon Elf rogue who is essentially a walking Cuisinart with his blades.
Okay.
Right? He gets the sneak attack damage and everything. So my thinking is, tactically, I picked up the ability so that I can move through the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Tanya is playing a monk, and our friend Hunter, Evan's daughter, is playing a sorceress. And if the sorcerer gets in trouble, I want to be able to swap. Okay. So now I'm the one in trouble, and the sorcerer is out of harm's way. So those were the things that I was thinking about on a more practical level. Those are the things that I plan on doing more often, is that tactical bouncing around the battlefield, like Nightcrawler, almost like the X-Men's Nightcrawler, with the advantage of that I can swap places with other people. But then I have to also revel in the fact that I am chaotic good. That's my alignment, is chaotic good. And there's a certain level of, you're not quite sure what's going on in this guy's brain, and neither is he, right? He thinks on an entirely different level. He's a race came out of the psionic handbook called Ilan, which is basically he's humanoid, but a humanoid that went through a psionic surgery. So he's functionally immortal. You lose 2 points of charisma right off the bat because you gain a certain level of social awkward because you're not really sure how to relate to normal human beings anymore, right?
Okay.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm looking at all these pieces fit together, and I'm like, this guy is essentially a very athletic Sheldon.
Okay.
From Big Bang Theory.
Yep.
And so there were times early on where I was channeling my inner Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock.
Okay.
And or I was being just outright Sheldon. And then as the character has developed, and he's found magic items that have boosted his charisma, so now he has leadership charisma. but he's still a little bit
off,
not connected to reality.
Yeah.
He's still, because he's also got like this, you know how on D&D you top out at 18 normally for your stats.
Mm-hmm.
18 is like the best of the best, but then you can kind of use certain skills and magic to boost your. So his intelligence is 26 right now.
Okay.
So functionally, his IQ is like 260, and so he thinks on an entirely different plane of existence. Like, this man is so far beyond what I'm personally capable of as a player. So I manifest that in just being weird.
And if you come up with stuff like that, that's
So I'm planning on being as entertaining as possible with these things. And I find there's going to be other powers that I'll be able to pick up over time. And I'm just like, oh, this is just, I'm going to do what's weird. That's the rule, is weird.
You're embracing your weird.
That's it. And that's why I love D&D so much, that I can
see everybody. This is what kind of stuff you can get into if you play D&D. You can wander the world without going anywhere physically.
Mm-hmm.
You can, open up your eyes and just, yeah.
So that's our lesson for the evening is to travel, even if you are not physically able to. There are ways to travel.
Yes.
Books, music.
Music is a big one too. Yes.
Music is the
language
of the universe.
Music so many times. Just it helps get me through time. Sometimes, and just Music.
And if you want to talk D&D with me, I'm more than happy to chat.
Chris
D&D
is always ready to talk D&D. He's still trying to get me to. One of these days, does he get me to play it again?
Yes.
It's a goal.
Yes, it is. It's one of my life goals to get you at the D&D table again.
And I'm sure it will happen sometime. It's just trying to find the right time to do it. So. But yeah.
So that sounds like we'll end on that note for the evening.
That's a good note to end on. Yes.
Yep. Don't forget to travel. Even if you can't physically travel, you can find ways to do that.
Yes.
Turn the TV off, pick up a book, listen to some music, play a game, and find a friend.
Yeah.
You don't have to travel alone.
Right. But you can't travel alone. The books.
You can.
Books allow you to travel alone.
Yeah, you can.
But
books. There are times but also, if I read a book, I want to be able to share with you the experience of having read that book.
Okay.
I want to be able to talk about that book and explain why I liked it or why I didn't like it.
Okay.
So
I go through books so fast. Sometimes I don't have time to do it.
In 2022, I'm going to start on New Year's Day in 2022 with the Foundation series. So I want you to tell me what the first Isaac Asimov book I need to read is, so I can start collecting these books now. I can't remember I don't know if it starts with the Robot trilogy or if it starts with Foundation. I don't remember that.
They complement each other, and towards the end, they kind of come together.
Okay.
If you start with the Robot series, it's more near future, and then the Foundation, I go farther future. But there is a tie, so I think starting with the Robot series would probably make sense. Because I think the last time I read all the books, I did it that way. I started off with the Robot series because
right now I have Foundation and Empire, and Second Foundation.
Yeah, so there's the Robot and Empire. I don't remember what the names of which order they are, but let me see. I got my list here. Let's see. I have a spreadsheet of almost all the books I've ever read.
Oh my God!
Let me see. I wonder how big it is. Let me see. It's still loading. Let me see. Right now there's a lot I haven't read because I've been reading a lot on Amazon. But this has almost 2,000 books in it.
Jesus,
this list right here.
I can't even count. I don't even touch the fraction of that.
Yeah. So the Robot ones. Oh, there's also the the Caves of Steel, the Naked Sun, the Robots of Dawn, Robots and Empire are the Robot books, and they chronologically they come before the Foundation books.
Do they share the universe then?
Yes.
Okay.
So actually, spoilers. They do come full circle kind of thing.
Okay.
At the very end, but I'm trying to remember because there's all these other books, Pebble in the Sky, Stars Like Dust, Currents of Space. I think they're in the same universe. Robots were written first. Oh no, wait. So Pebble in the Sky was one of his early. It was 1950. Foundation written in 51. The Foundation, Empire, Second Foundation were written in 51, 52, 53. Then other ones are written in the 80s. So they're yeah. I mean, I would read the robot. I'd look at the other one, the Pebble in the Sky and stuff. I'd look at those. I don't remember what those were about. But yeah, I start robots, and then there's 7 Foundation books. Prelude to Foundation, Forward the Foundation, Foundation and Empire, Second Foundation, Foundation Edge.
Are they easy to read? Because I'll tell you, Tolkien is hard language to. It's hard to read the Fellowship of the Ring. It really is, because Tolkien was so deep into his language. So my question is, how is Asimov to read?
Well, I didn't have any problem, but they're fairly easy because they focus on just a couple characters.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it, if they start bringing in like these large casts, I find it harder to follow some of the stuff sometimes.
Okay.
A lot of the Foundation books that focus on, follow one person kind of thing. Like the first, like the main Foundation book, it focuses on Harry Seldon, who does invents psychohistory, which is, predicts the future type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But there's him and another character. No, and of course, other character, but it kind of follows this, one around or follows the thing around. But I didn't find it too difficult. I mean, it's written in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they talk about technical stuff, but not that technical stuff. Robots and the robot books, again, they're written in the 50s, and they talk about, I think they're fairly easy reads overall.
Okay.
Just trying to think, but I think overall they're fairly easy to read.
Okay.
But yeah, but I'm definitely going to put those on my next ones. Now, unless something else pops up, I'm going to put those on my next list to read. Now that they've came across them from something else too, but yeah. Yeah, I love those books. It's a kind of series. I'm sad when it ends. I kind of wish it would have gone on farther, but it ended in kind of a neat place. But I was excited. I liked the end of I liked the last book of the Foundation series, because it was just the Foundation and Earth was the last one. But yeah, so yeah, reading's good.
Reading is fundamental.
I love reading. I say I'm always reading one book on the Kindle, and I'm listening to one book on audiobooks.
It's great.
So I'm almost always doing that, because sometimes when I'm running, I'll listen to a book when I run, and I'll read during the day, or on lunch or before bed and stuff like that. So best of both worlds.
All right. So that's it. That's the message of the day. Learn from that one, my friends.
Yes. Expand your horizons. Travel in whatever way you can, if it's reading or actually physically traveling.
Yeah. Seriously. And if you travel, we want to know about it. We want to know where you're going.
Yes.
Tell us about it. Show us the slides.
We might want to go too.
I do. I have a laundry list of places to go.
Mm-hmm. All
right. Well, then you be good. I'll talk to you soon.
Definitely.
I've got the version 1 of the panel schedule pretty much done. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
It's got some blank spaces in it, which I predicted.
Mm-hmm.
But now we've got some room to work with.
Yeah. So now at least we can see what we have to work with. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll be able to start publishing it probably early August.
Okay. Yes, everyone, the convention is coming. The convention is coming. The convention is coming. Oh my gosh, it's less than 2 months away.
Yep. We'll be okay. We'll be good. I think people are excited to see what happens, or just to see each other.
I think so. It's just that, I'm a little concerned for myself for the fact that I got surgery 2 weeks before the convention.
Yeah, we'll find you a nice comfy place near a bathroom.
Yeah, and then make sure August I get as much done as possible for August and everything. So but I'll be okay. It's just that it's like, okay, well, timing isn't the best, but
I was going to put a spot where you and I were going to do a Dan and Chris Save the World panel, but I'm not sure your comfort levels with like being in public and being far away from a bathroom and stuff like that. So I wasn't sure how to set that up.
Maybe.
If you want me to, it's up to you. But let me know, by the end of August, obviously, how you think you're going to feel about it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think because it's
plan accordingly.
I'm trying to
or
think,
we can put something in, and if you're not up for it, we'll just cancel it.
I'm just trying to think about how much time I usually have during the convention.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes by so fast for me.
Yeah, for both of us.
Yeah, because we're always so busy. So I mean, just to take the time out. But actually, the Blue Cross, I actually did take some time off, and I watched the panel, and so that was actually weird.
See, I'm so used to watching panels because I'm
you're
hosting them, running them, interviewing stuff like that, or at least trying to make sure they're behaving themselves in there.
I'm always wandering around, making sure everything's running and everything. Make sure everything's all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted there. So it was kind of weird to sit down for an hour and like, oh wow, this is kind of this is fun.
I'm glad you got that opportunity. I really am. I'm hoping you get that again.
Yes. So yeah, maybe we can do that. I don't know.
All right, sounds good.
We'll keep.
I'll fit. You know what? Like I said, I'll fit something into the schedule. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, we'll just cancel it.
Just to think of what time of day would make the most sense. So.
Well, you tell me what you think, and I'll make that happen.
Might be a Sunday type of thing.
Okay.
So yeah, I like that idea.
All right, my bubba.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Sounds good, my man. You have a great evening.
You
Give
too.
Josh a hug for me. I see him milling around in the background. Not right now, but I saw him before.
Yeah, he popped in.
All right, love you, brother.
Love you too.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.